So if I can just ask you a couple questions. I mean, are you okay, Amber?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I know this came as a disappointment, especially, a week ago you thought your brother was going to be leaving the jail. The judge changed his mind based on some new information presented today. What's your takeaway on what happened and what's your level of disappointment?
I think there's a system in place that can cover what's going on here. The judge says that the jail states that Mustafa made a threat. It doesn't make sense that Mustafa would make a threat. He's going to say, I'm going to be found innocent only to come out and commit another crime. That just doesn't make any sense. We know that this officer went into his cell. She stepped on his Quran, on his religious material, and because he complained, she wrote her report the next day claiming that he threatened her. Why would she write her report the very next day? Why not write it on the spot? And there's other witnesses inside the jail that heard the entire interaction, and they said Mustafa never made those threats. He never made those threats. And this judge, this seems to be a theme here, where, this judge, if he really felt like Mustafa was a danger to the community, put him on house arrest. Okay? If he leaves this property, take him back to jail. We just don't want him to be hurt at this facility, and that's what they're doing. They're torturing him. He's been on solitary confinement for over a year, and it's just unacceptable.
The Commonwealth went to great lengths to provide additional evidence. We've learned they've even hired a lip reader to try to figure out what was said on the dash cam. What did you make of the new evidence presented today and how that might have influenced the judge?
Again, this prosecutor lies on a daily basis. She puts a lie out to get what she wants, and then she retracts her statement. Everybody can see the video. You can see what's going on in that vehicle. Okay, it doesn't take a lip reader. It doesn't take anything. If you watch the entire video, I think it's 15 minutes or 10 minutes from the time they left the apartment till they got into the car accident. You can judge someone's actions through that video.
And you think what I've talked to the defense attorney about what he thinks happened. We've heard him describe that in court. What do you think happened?
This was an accident, and you can see if you watch the video from 6 o'clock when they left the apartment to 6:15 or whenever the accident occurred, you can see and judge for yourself. But to release 8 seconds of the actual crash, like when someone's actually getting into a car accident, it's just it's misleading. It's misleading the public.
Do you worry, again, prosecution's gone to great lengths hiring a lip reader. Do you worry about that piece of evidence, that they are going to go to court and tell jurors that her last words were, "No, Empress is in the car"?
I don't believe she said that whatsoever. I think this was a car accident, and the fact that it took them a year to come out and say that there is such thing as a dash cam that belongs to him, that's his dash cam, just doesn't make sense for him to put a dash cam only to commit a crime. It just doesn't make any sense. The dash cam belongs to him. That's his property. He put it there for a reason, and that's for his protection. But for them to use something that he put in place against him just doesn't, the facts just don't line up with the narrative that they're putting out.
The crime scene investigator, with the new information that he presented, some of that can be argued effectively by either side. He said if you're trying to maneuver, you're not going to slam on the brakes. And I know, the defense attorney argues that he was trying to maneuver, that he panicked and he was trying to avoid a crash. But do you worry about some of that crash evidence that was presented today, the fact that there were no skid marks, and the fact that, the crash damage was all on the passenger side of the vehicle?
Well, they're saying that he didn't push the brake, but the police department themselves did an inspection of the vehicle, and they stated that the brake lines were still intact, but that caliper was not functional. So, where does that come into play?
Any worries, though, about what the crash scene investigator said about where the damage was, that it was all on the passenger side of the car?
An accident is an accident. How do you control what part of the car gets damaged or not? The fact that the car looks different at the police station now than it did at the accident site should be troubling to anybody. That car is completely destroyed at the police station. They claim it's for extraction, but I think your media outlet has a picture of the car after everybody was extracted. And I think the biggest question here is, why wasn't Empress and Dorothy airlifted with Mustafa? Why were, if they were in such a critical condition, if they're saying that their side of the vehicle was the one that's damaged and he came out perfectly fine, why did they helicopter him? Why not helicopter the 5-year-old? Why put that 5-year-old through an over 1 hour drive to the same hospital. You know, Empress went to Fairfax Hospital. To get from Dumfries to Fairfax, it's an hour without traffic. So just imagine, during rush hour, you're saying that Mustafa's vehicle was hit right where Empress was sitting. Okay, she's 5 years old. Okay, she's a small person. She can't take much damage. So why did they not airlift Empress with Mustafa? Why was Mustafa airlifted, not Empress, not her mother? And you know, another thing is the prosecutor is saying that Dorothy wanted to get out of the car. They were actually at a stoplight, I think seconds before the accident occurred. So, and it shows that she had cash in her pocket when she was at the hospital.
Yeah, they were sitting in traffic for a while before that happened. I know, you know, again, I know this is deeply disappointing today. What's your level of hope, though, for the trial?
I think Mustafa is going to come out of this. I think the truth is going to come out. Mustafa is going to come home. This was a horrible accident, and these people here, the prosecutor, Amy Ashworth, they're liars. Okay, they are flat out.
I know him for 12 years.
They're flat out
Sarah
liars.
Said, it's a lie.
They're claiming that he's
Just
violent.
a bunch of
They're
liars,
claiming that he's
corrupt
violent.
individuals,
They claim that he
liars.
violated a protective order, whatever.
It hurts me because I
This
know
is his
Mustafa for
ex-girlfriend.
12
I know,
years.
Christine, I can only hear from one person right now.
This
Okay.
is his
Oh,
his ex-girlfriend's here.
Yeah, no,
He was targeted by the police. We sued Stafford County for that 2018 incident. She's stating that he was charged with assault by mob. I was also charged with assault by mob. Does that make me a bad person? I was on my property. I asked somebody to leave my property, and the police charged me with assault by mob on my own property.
It didn't seem like the judge took that into consideration. It really seemed his decision was chiefly about the alleged jail threat.
I mean,
but he didn't seem to put any weight in some of those past offenses.
You know, I'll say it like this. It's obvious. Somebody here is getting kickbacks from this jail. The fact that they're holding Mustafa, they're making money off of his head. Okay? They're not going to release him. You think they're going to release their income? That's their income. That's how they make money. They abuse people. They refuse to send them to a hospital. And
Sick individuals.
it's obvious. This judge has something to do with it. We have asked him to recuse himself from this case. I have personally went up, asked him to recuse himself,
Well,
and he
decided
refused.
he decided in your favor last week, though. I mean, last week you were very pleased with his decision.
I mean, you know, was this all planned? I don't know.
No, it's
I,
fine.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem right that he would give Mustafa a $5,000 bond, and then only to come back on hearsay and say, oh, he's a danger to society because an officer stated that he was going to come home and put her address out there. We know that never happened. I have witnesses that were there at the time that said that never happened. And plus, again, there's a system in place. There's something called house arrest. If this judge doesn't know about it, we'll inform him. House arrest is if you leave your property, the police will show up and gladly take you right back to jail.
Well, he asked about the GPS monitor last week. So
GPS monitor and house arrest are two different things.
Yeah, true. They can go hand in hand.
We said take his passport, put him on house arrest. We just don't want him abused before his day in court at this facility. And we know that he's being abused. To be on solitary confinement for over a year, and now he doesn't get visits, he doesn't get phone calls, he doesn't get commissary, and they're telling him they're going to put their private parts in his food. They're forcing him to eat their private parts. That's what they're doing at this facility. And this judge should be ashamed that he would allow these things to happen. He says, what May 24 incident? I actually brought a civil case here for May 24th where they sexually assaulted my brother. So this judge knows very well what's going on behind these closed doors. He knows what they're doing to my brother. It's very obvious that they're hurting my brother before his day in court. And, you know, I'm not surprised. She didn't bring Robert Drum in today to testify. He's the lead investigator. He should have been here. But, of course, she's not going to bring the liar. You know, he's on audio lying, okay? She brought him to the grand jury as a primary witness. A liar. She knew he was a liar from day one. Yet she still brought him to the grand jury.
He misstated what was said in that conversation.
Exactly. Misstating. When you have audio, you can verify, go back, fix it. He never did.
Well, we'll keep in touch.
Yes,
We'll keep in touch. Christina, do you want to answer a couple questions?
Yeah.
I think I've said everything. That's it.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah, she's good.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch. Okay.
Yeah.